Hey everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you how to make an easy and cheap robot called the Beetle Bot. So the tools and parts we'll need to get started are some cutters, soldering iron, a hot glue gun, some small and big paper clips, 2 motors, 2 batteries, piece of heat shrink, an on and off switch, 2 lever switches, and make sure when you're looking for these, find ones that are really sensitive. And then you're going to need a cap that you get from like a peanut butter bottle or any other kind of jar you could find, and then a AA battery holder. Now with that, you're also going to have this piece right here, which I 3D printed, that holds the 2 motors. If you don't have access to a 3D printer, a good substitute can actually be making the same exact piece out of Legos. Alright, so the first thing we do is we hot glue the on and off switch, the motor holder, and the 2 lever switches on the AA battery holder. Make sure that the on and off switch is hot glued on the right bottom side, and the motor holder is hot glued in the middle, and the lever switches are glued on the top. And that the 2 pins right here in the front are just touching. Alright, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to hot glue the motors onto the motor holder, and you're going to make sure that there's enough space in between that's got a little wiggle room on it. And then also you're going to take that piece of heat shrink that I showed earlier, and you're going to cut it to where it's going to fit on the motor shaft, and then you're going to use the soldering iron to heat it up so that it sticks onto the motor shaft to help with grip when it's driving around. Once everything is hot glued, now you're going to start soldering on all the connections and using some of the small paper clips to make those connections. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the lever switches, and on the first pins that were just touching together, you're going to take some solder and connect them. Then for the second pins, you're going to take a small paper clip and connect each one together and then solder that on. Then for the third pins, you're going to connect each pin to the left side of the motor. Once you have that done, then you're going to take a paper clip and connect each right side of the motor together. Once you're done soldering all the paper clips, you're then going to trim down the positive and negative wire in the AA battery holder and use the excess negative wire to make your connection on the motor to the on and off switch and then to the AA battery holder. So first you're going to connect the negative wire onto the right motor, which will then connect to the first pin on the on and off switch. Then the second pin you'll connect the other negative wire to and connect it to the back of the AA battery holder. When you're doing this, make sure you're very careful, because if you put the soldering iron onto the plastic piece for too long, you can melt off the metal piece that connects the battery and then break it. So make sure you're really careful, and once you're finished, just hot glue around the wire to make sure it doesn't pop off. Then you're going to go back to the positive and negative wire, and you're going to take the positive wire and connect it to the first 2 pins on the lever switches, and then the negative wire will connect on the second pin to the right lever switch. Once you're finished making the final connections, you're going to take the 2 big paper clips that we had, and you're going to bend them out to look like antenna. You'll then take the hot glue gun and apply it onto the 2 lever switches and take each paper clip and connect it onto the lever. Make sure you hold on to them as you put it on to make sure that when it dries it will stay in place. Once you glue the paper clips on, you could take a couple Lego pieces or any piece of plastic you can find and glue it on the center of the motor holder so then it could hold the shell that we have. You'll then take the shell and you'll cut out a little piece on each side so that the motor can slide in between the shell to hold it in place. Then you take the shell and hot glue it right on top on the Lego piece. The last thing you have to do that I actually forgot to mention is if you have a marble or any kind of round weight on you, use that in a paper clip and hot glue it on the back of the Beetle Bot to keep the weight behind so that the Beetle Bot doesn't lean forward as it's driving. Once you do that, you're all set and you're ready to test it out and see if it works. and it looks like it's working out pretty good. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll make sure to leave a link that has an Instructables for this robot as well, and also a copy of the STL file of the motor holder. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and hope we get to see you again soon.